Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. Iran says it has reached an understanding with the US on the main guiding principles for a deal to avoid conflict. The Omani-mediated talks were aimed at averting the possibility of US military intervention to curb Iran's nuclear program, weeks after thousands were killed in mass demonstrations. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi declared that progress does not mean an agreement will be reached soon. Meanwhile, US Vice President J.D. Vance said, in some ways, the United States' diplomatic talks with Iran went well, as both parties agreed to meet afterward. However, he warned US made it clear where its red lines are. The United States is ready to carry out low-yield nuclear tests, ending a decades-old moratorium in response to alleged secret nuclear tests by China and Russia. This comes after the expiration of the New START treaty with Russia. New START, the last treaty between both countries that limited deployment of nuclear warheads, expired this month as President Donald Trump called for a new agreement that also includes China. Ukrainian and Russian negotiators concluded the first of 2 days of US-mediated peace talks in Geneva, though neither side signaled they were any closer to ending Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II. Negotiations are set to continue today. The United States has been pushing for an end to the nearly 4-year war, but has failed to broker a compromise between Moscow and Kyiv on the key issue of territory. Russia announced that its forces had carried out massive attacks against Ukrainian energy infrastructure in the past day, while Ukraine claimed to have struck a Russian oil enterprise over the same time period. According to Russia's defense ministry, Russian forces struck Ukrainian military facilities, energy infrastructure, and drone bases with high-precision weapons and drones in the past 24 hours, with its defense forces shooting down 8 Ukrainian guided aerial bombs and 224 fixed-wing drones. In addition, Russia's southwestern border region reported multiple drone attacks, with a fire breaking out at an oil refinery. Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet said that the Thai forces were occupying Cambodian territory after fighting last year, despite a peace accord brokered by US President Donald Trump. He called on Thailand to allow a joint boundary commission to begin working on their disputed border. He traveled to Washington to attend a meeting of Trump's Board of Peace this week, saying he hoped the new body could play a role in de-escalating the situation on the border, which was described as fragile despite a December ceasefire that ended renewed fighting. The Vatican will not join US President Donald Trump's Board of Peace. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Secretary of State, says the United Nations is the proper body to handle global crises, as the board raises concerns it could rival the UN. The board, launched by Trump at the World Economic Forum in Davos in January, was initially designed to oversee the Gaza truce and the territory's reconstruction after the war between Hamas and Israel, but its purpose has since expanded into resolving all sorts of international conflicts. The 62nd Munich Security Conference concluded after leaders from the US and Europe clashed for days over the future of the transatlantic partnership and the global order, laying bare their rifts. The Munich Security Report describes the current era as one of the wrecking ball politics, saying political forces favoring destruction over reform are gaining momentum across many Western societies, driven by disenchantment with the performance of democratic institutions. Garbage has begun to pile up on street corners in the Cuban capital of Havana, attracting hordes of flies and dumps reeking of rotten food. This is one of the most visible impacts of the US bid to prevent oil from reaching the Caribbean's largest island. Only 44 of Havana's 106 rubbish trucks were reportedly able to keep operating due to fuel shortages, slowing garbage collection. Cardboard boxes, used bags, plastic bottles and rags have piled up on street corners across the seafront capital. Pedestrians and bikers are forced to circumvent the imposing heaps. मैं कह रहा हूँ ये स्टोर UK police have said they were assessing information in the Epstein files that women were trafficked by plane into Britain. As pressure grows to probe ex-Prince Andrew's links to the flights, the short statement referring to the late convicted US sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and the Department of Justice in the United States did not reference Andrew. Former UK Prime Minister Gordon Brown has been among the high-profile figures urging police to probe the disgraced royal's links to dozens of flights dating back decades tied to Epstein. Bangladesh swore in its new Prime Minister Tariq Rahman, marking the Bangladesh Nationalist Party's sweeping return to power after last week's landslide election victory. The opposition Jamaat-e-Islami alliance boycotted the ceremony. Jamaat and its allies, including the National Citizen Party, chose not to attend the ceremony after Rahman's party rejected the interim government's request for its lawmakers to take an additional oath under the proposed Constitutional Reform Council. Philippine Vice President Sara Duterte said she will run for president in the 2028 election. Under the Constitution, the president is limited to a single 6-year term, which means incumbent President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., a political rival, cannot seek re-election. Duterte is the daughter of former President Rodrigo Duterte, who is currently detained in The Hague on murder charges linked to his bloody war on drugs during his presidency. A fiery explosion that ripped through a church in upstate New York injured 5 people, including the pastor and firefighters. New York State Police were investigating the blast, which sent thick plumes of black smoke into the air at the Abundant Life Church in Boonville. The church, about 80 kilometers northeast of Syracuse, was reportedly heated by propane cylinders. Local firefighters were dispatched to the church, and 4 people were in the basement when the furnace turned on, triggering an explosion. One of the most promising leads yet in the investigation into the abduction of Nancy Guthrie proved a disappointment when DNA from a glove found near her Arizona home failed to score a match in a national database of genetic profiles. The outcome, announced by the Pima County Sheriff's Department and FBI, marked a major setback for investigators as the search for the 84-year-old mother of the television journalist Savannah Guthrie stretched into its 17th day. Investigators hoped a DNA sample retrieved from the glove would produce a hit when submitted for comparison with known DNA profiles stored in a national database. The glove was found discarded in a roadside field. Two major fires are burning in the Oklahoma Panhandle. This is in addition to over 40 fires that have pushed into town. The fires have prompted emergency evacuation zone in western Woodward and South Oklahoma neighborhoods stretching from 48th Street East to 13th Street. Residents inside that zone are being urged to leave immediately due to rapidly changing fire behavior and shifting winds. The Indian Air Force helicopters are battling wildfires at two fronts, conducting relentless aerial firefighting missions in challenging terrain of Arunachal Pradesh. Nearly 140,000 liters of water have been dropped at WION, successfully extinguishing the blaze. Simultaneously, operations continue over Zukou Valley in Nagaland, with helicopters drawing water from nearby lake to battle fires. Mexico City remained on air pollution alert as authorities kept phase 1 of an environmental contingency in plan across the metropolitan area due to elevated ozone levels. City Hall forecast light winds and temperatures up to 27 degrees Celsius, with ozone expected to peak between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. With weather conditions seen changing, little ozone concentrations were likely to fall in the very poor range on the Air and Health Index. Authorities urged residents to avoid outdoor activities, work remotely where possible, and complete tasks online, while also restricting the number of vehicles allowed to circulate. Weeks of relentless rain have left parts of southern England underwater, with rivers swelling to record highs and communities struggling to cope. Aerial footage shows Salisbury's playgrounds and car parks submerged, with floodwaters creeping into backyards and surrounding farmland. What was once solid ground now resembles a shallow lake, with daily life disrupted across the region. Experts say the problem isn't just overflowing rivers. Soil across the south has become so saturated that water is now rising directly through the ground, adding to the flooding. Lithuania's Vilnius airport has resumed operations shortly after they were halted due to weather balloons from Belarus entering its airspace. The airport, located some 30 kilometers from Belarus, has been closed more than 10 times since early October 2025 over similar incidents. A frantic search was underway for 10 backcountry skiers missing in an avalanche in the mountains of California, where a huge storm dumped heavy snow. Officials say a group of 16 people, 4 guides and 12 clients, were caught up in the avalanche on Castle Peak in the Tahoe area. 6 have been accounted for, but mountain rescue teams battling treacherous conditions were still trying to reach them, while also looking for the others as snow continued to fall. Asian markets edged higher on Wednesday, even as global investors wrestled with renewed uncertainty over the artificial intelligence boom. Japan's Nikkei 225 climbed 0.93% to 57,090, snapping a 3-day losing streak, while Australia's ASX 200 gained 0.5%. On Wall Street, gains were modest. The Dow rose 0.07%, the S&P 500 added 0.10%, and the Nasdaq gained 0.14% after the S&P initially fell nearly 0.9% before recovering. Investors remain cautious about whether companies are over-investing in AI and how the technology may disrupt jobs and profits. Oil prices edged lower on Wednesday as progress in US-Iran nuclear talks raised hopes of easing tensions and reduced fears of supply disruptions. Brent crude slipped to $67.39 a barrel, hovering near 2-week lows. Iran's foreign minister said the two sides agreed on key guiding principles, though analysts caution a full deal is not imminent. Additional pressure came from rising output at Kazakhstan's Tengiz oil field, expected to reach full capacity by February 23rd. Investors are now watching US inventory data, with crude stockpiles forecast to rise by 2.3 million barrels last week. The US dollar held firm on Wednesday as investors tracked geopolitical developments and awaited minutes from the Federal Reserve for clues on future rate cuts. The dollar index stood at 97.16, little changed after a two-day rise. The euro eased to approximately $1.18, while the yen held at 153.23 per dollar. Sterling slipped to approximately $1.35. The New Zealand dollar was the biggest mover, sliding 0.4% to $0.6016 after the Reserve Bank of New Zealand kept rates unchanged at 2.25% and signaled policy would remain accommodative. Geopolitics stayed in focus as Iran reported progress in nuclear talks with the US, while Ukraine and Russia continued US-mediated peace discussions in Geneva. Meanwhile, Bitcoin fell 0.7% to almost $67,000 as thin Lunar New Year trading kept broader currency moves contained. The European Union has launched a formal probe into Shein over illegal products and concerns about addictive app design. The action comes under the bloc's Digital Services Act, which forces online platforms to tackle harmful and illegal content. The move follows pressure from France, which had urged a crackdown on the sale of childlike sex dolls on the platform. Shein says it has now stopped selling all sex dolls globally and is cooperating with the EU authorities. Spain's top football league, La Liga, has now won a court order against major VPN providers in a crackdown on illegal match streaming. The order, backed by broadcast partner Telefonica, forces NordVPN and ProtonVPN to block access to 16 piracy websites in Spain. The court has directed the VPN firms to make the targeted IP addresses inaccessible on Spanish networks with immediate effect. La Liga says the ruling recognizes VPN services as technology intermediaries responsible for preventing copyright violations under European digital rules. Infosys has partnered with Anthropic just days after AI fears eroded billions from Indian IT stocks. The sell-off was triggered partly by a new AI tool from Amazon and Alphabet-backed Anthropic, which is seeing fast growth in India. Anthropic recently launched Claude Cowork, an AI agent that can perform computer tasks for office workers. Under the deal, Infosys and Anthropic will build AI agents for telecom first, then expand into banking, manufacturing, and software. The British Academy of Film and Television Arts has confirmed a heavyweight guest list for this Sunday's ceremony as the race for the 2026 BAFTA Film Awards reaches its peak. Leading the charge are Hollywood titans Leonardo DiCaprio, Michael B. Jordan, and Rose Byrne. The winners will be announced on February 22nd in London. The event will be hosted by actor Alan Cumming. British singer-songwriter Charli XCX walked the red carpet for the UK premiere of her upcoming mockumentary, The Moment. The 360 and Born Dutch hitmaker paired an all-black ensemble with thigh-high boots at the premiere, which took place at London's Picture House Central. The film's director and Charli XCX frequent collaborator Aidan Zamiri was also in attendance, along with cast members Alexander Skarsgård and Jamie Dimitriou. The Moment premiered earlier at this year's Sundance Film Festival and was later screened at the Berlin Film Festival on February 14th. The film opens in UK cinemas on 20th February. Bruce Springsteen is bringing his pointed political commentary back to American stages this spring. The rock icon and the E Street Band announced Tuesday the launch of their Land of Hope and Dreams American tour starting March 31st in Minneapolis, kicking off a 20-date run that blends arena rock with a message centered on democracy, freedom, and what Springsteen calls the defense of the American ideal. The tour concludes on May 27th with an outdoor performance in Washington, D.C. Miley Cyrus is returning to her Disney roots, with the celebrated singer officially set to take part in the Hannah Montana's 20th anniversary special. Special will debut on Disney Plus on March 24th. It will be filmed in front of a live studio audience and will feature an interview with Cyrus hosted by Alex Cooper. Cyrus will revisit iconic moments from the show as well as never seen before footage and recreation of the show's sets. Actor Shia LaBeouf has been arrested after being accused of hitting two men during Mardi Gras celebrations in New Orleans. New Orleans police said in a statement that LaBeouf was charged with 2 counts of simple battery. Officers were called to business around the French Quarter at about 12:45 a.m. after allegedly causing a disturbance and becoming increasingly aggressive. An employee tried to remove LaBeouf, and once outside, the actor allegedly hit a man multiple times with closed fists. Witnesses told police that LaBeouf left the area but later returned and continued to act aggressively. The Hollywood Chamber of Commerce placed a floral wreath on the Hollywood Walk of Fame star of Oscar-winning actor Robert Duvall, who died at the age of 95. Duvall was known as a versatile actor who made lasting impressions in a range of parts like the Colonel of Apocalypse Now or the spectral Boo Radley in To Kill a Mockingbird. The actor died peacefully on Sunday. That's it on this edition of Speed News. News and updates will continue on the other side of this short break. Keep watching me on World is One.